Good morning. Good morning. Conference, I was born in the winter of discontent. So my first vote was at the 97 election. I was a spotty 18-year-old in my first year at university, and my friends told me that our student union had a special late licence so that we could all go along, drink through the night and watch the results come in. What they didn't tell me was that the bar had been hired out by the University Labour Club, and that I would be the only Tory in a room of 100 baying lefties as seat after seat after seat fell. I think you're supposed to call it character building, but it was bloody awful. So believe me, conference, when I tell you I have waited a really long time for a majority Conservative government, and I cannot thank the Prime Minister, our candidates and all of you enough for making that happen. Thank you. And it's right that we enjoyed our victory in May, but let's remember that the real reward is knowing what it means for our country. People back in work, able to make choices about their lives and plan for the future with the security that only a regular pay packet can achieve. Getting back to work is the biggest driver of social justice there is, and it is precisely because of those new jobs that we see both poverty and inequality falling in Scotland. After years of debt and binge spending under Labour, we see a country revving back to financial health. We also see Conservatives doing what we do best, and that is putting into practice, into practical effect, delivering for everyone and not just the few. And most of all, ladies and gentlemen, it means a country led by a party, the only party of the Union, a party that will always back Britain and fight to keep us together. And it's worth remembering, conference, that last year, if just 200,000 people had changed their vote, this country would now be suing for divorce. The United Kingdom would have ceased to exist. We must never come so close again. The SNP are already calling for a rerun, and the storm has not passed, but our future as a family of nations within a nation-state can be better secured. We can rise to the challenge of nationalism by building a stronger and more flexible union. Real financial responsibility on tax, real decision-making over welfare, real accountability on raising the money we spend, a practical plan for the union delivered by the party of the union. And it's David Mundell, our Scottish Secretary, the first Conservative Scottish Secretary for 18 years, who's delivering it for Scotland. At conference, I know that many of you think that the election's behind you and it doesn't need thinking about for another 5 years. But it's just 7 months before we go back to the polls again in Scotland. And at this election, the Scottish Conservatives have a huge opportunity to be the voice of the quiet majority, to speak for those who just want to get up and get on, to move past yes or no, and to see Scotland's two governments work together, not stir false grievance between them. To be a real Scottish alternative, showing a practical, pragmatic way forward for our country with a plan for reform in education, a plan to use new powers on tax and welfare to become fairer and more business-friendly, and a plan to support our public services, especially our NHS, so they can face up to the challenge of an ageing population. Scottish Labour is not going to provide that plan. With all the resource of the official opposition, they've done nothing and made no use of it. They've neither held the government to account nor charted an alternative vision for our country. This is a party that makes a circular firing squad look competent. It's down to us. It is down to us to take on an SNP administration that has grown fat with power and is suffering all of the arrogance and the hubris that power can bring. It's a party of ideology which has run out of ideas and now seeks only to try and control. It's a party that's running from its own record and would rather pick fights about constitutional process than answer for the problems in our schools, our hospitals, or with the police. It is a party that is failing Scotland. And the truth is that Scotland needs a better way. And it's my conviction that it is now us, the Scottish Conservatives, which has the ideas, it has the vision, and has the belief to offer it. And I know, of course, it won't be easy. May's general election taught us that. But I believe that we have the chance to appeal right across the board, to be the voice of the 2 million Scots who want to keep our country together. In May, many Scottish Conservatives voted tactically, supporting other pro-UK parties in the hope of stopping the SNP. And I can tell you there's 2 reasons why that won't happen next year. Firstly, because the Labour and the Lib Dems now seem embarrassed by their support of our union. And secondly, because next year, every single vote counts. And as the head of our campaign, I've made it clear to my team that I want to target the regional list vote next year. And for so long as the SNP refuses to rule out another referendum, our message for voters looking to cast a second vote is clear. Whichever party you support, use that vote intelligently. And if you're one of the 2 million people who voted no in last year's referendum, use it as your intelligent vote for the union. And be assured of this: every cross in the Scottish Conservative box is a vote backing Britain and defending Scotland's place in it. And every vote for the Scottish Conservatives will help return a Scottish Conservative MSP. We are on the march and we'll return more seats than ever before. May is an opportunity for us. It's an opportunity for us to build on the general election, to retain London, to put on votes and seats in Scotland and Wales, and to take councils across the country. And while elections are absorbing and campaigns are exciting, we must never forget what it is that we're fighting for. Yesterday, I went to visit a charity with our fantastic Welsh Secretary, Stephen Crabb. It's called Reclaim, and it gives mentoring and life coaching and leadership training to kids from working class backgrounds from the age of 12 up. Dozens of young people from areas like Gorton and Moss Side being taught to challenge, to innovate, to be able to walk into a blue chip company and feel as confident there as they do in their own playground. Stephen and I were grilled for nearly 2 hours from the most impressive and articulate and passionate people that you could ever hope to meet. Tough backgrounds, but bright futures. And they burned with a sense of righteousness of the world that they want to see, the world that they want to build, not the world as they know it right now. And I believe that each and every one of them will change their own world for the better. But they made one thing clear too. They see themselves as utterly set apart, socially and economically segregated from every single politician and decision maker that talks on TV. And it didn't matter if they grew up rich or poor, they went to a rough school or a posh one. The very fact of putting on a suit and standing at a podium like this one made them feel different and foreign and other. And that's a bridge that politicians and decision makers have to cross. It's a bridge that our party has to cross. There is no point spouting statistics on GDP or house building or the labour market if we can't speak to people's lives. It is not enough for our party to be seen as decent technocrats, as adequate middle managers who'll steward the economy without scaring the horses. With Labour galloping off to the left, it would be easy, it would be lazy thing to do. It might secure the government for some time to come, but it's not enough. Just as Labour need reminding that purity of thought is no substitute for power, so we must remind ourselves that power is nothing without purpose. I don't want us just to be the party of the technocrat, the grudging vote that people give for competence. I want us to be the party of the thinkers and the dreamers and the reformers and the visionaries as well, the zeal of the missionary, the courage of the pioneer, the ambition to lift our eyes to the horizon and say, there's a new Jerusalem that we want to build, and we will work towards it every day. And more than that, we'll take people with us. The last few years have not been easy, and I pay tribute to George Osborne for holding his nerve and seeing us through. 2 million more jobs, the fastest growing major economy in the developed world. And after battening down the hatches, David Cameron's right. It's time to show people that the sun is coming up. No one will tell that story for us. No one will talk to that future unless we do it ourselves. And if we don't, our country will be the poorer for it. Because we are the party. We're the party that believes in human potential, in the power of individuals to do good and choose well. In a fast-changing world, with challenges of terrorism and globalism, of nationalism, of demographic shift and technological change, we have to find new answers. But we also have to remind ourselves of those values that are unchanging. Values of family, of community, of country, of knowing that people make better decisions about their lives than the state, that hard work deserves fair pay, that aspiration and opportunity aren't dirty words. It is natural and desirable to want to build a better life for you and your children, and you should be applauded and not upbraided for it. A belief in marriage, gay or straight, and of families of every shape and size as the primary building block of our society. A commitment to giving those at the bottom a hand up and of clearing the barriers to advancement at every level. A recognition that children don't all learn the same and they shouldn't all be taught the same. That school choice and parental freedom lead to better life chances. A belief in the invention and the creativity of people, and where governments get in the way of that, they should remove themselves from the field. It is proper, old-fashioned, blue-collar Toryism. It's how I was raised, and it's why I've kept the faith for exactly half of my life, from casting that first ballot in 1997 to achieving a Conservative majority 18 years later. We need to show these values in every action we take, in every action, every day. We have to let the people scanning the horizon know that a new day is coming up once again. We need to build that city on the hill. We need to build it for Scotland, we need to build it for Britain, and we need to build it for the future. Thank you very much.